Mr. Music, please.
Ready for it?
Yeah, give her.
Here it comes.
Okay. And we're up and running. Hey! 8 o'clock! Hey, what's going on?
First time for everything.
Well, actually, they're just froze on Facebook. Damn it.
We're still
Anyway.
showing fine.
Yeah, we're showing fine. It's just that my screen just shows it. Anyway, doesn't matter.
All right, well,
That's what the show's all about anyway. So.
Are you even winding her up?
Oh, yeah. Okay, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Outreach, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show. My name is Chris Kerwin, and I'll be your host for this evening. First of all, I'd like to welcome back our regular co-host, Paul Owen from the Moonshadow Observatory in Hampton, New Brunswick. Paul,
Ooh.
evening. And also, we've got Mr. Mike Powell from the PFO Observatory here in St. John. Hey, Mike. And tonight we like to offer a warm welcome to our friend and fellow St. John Astronomy Club member, Mr. Tom Wraithby. Hey, Tom.
Hey.
45. No, that 45.
For me, it's this way. Here's a story of a man named Brady. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about time-lapse photography a bit. Very interesting art form of this hobby. Tom has been involved with capturing some stunning time lapses for a while now, and we're hoping he can reveal some of his methods and equipment that he uses to create these effects. Also tonight, Vinyl Bud will be paying us another visit as he reveals to us something called the broken engagement ring, which I don't really know about, but it's pretty cool.
It'll all come around.
All come around. All right.
You'll see.
And Paul's going to be back with another interesting Rosanna's Fun Facts segment for us tonight. And if we have time, we'll take a quick look at what to watch for the night sky. I don't think we're going to have time for that, but we'll leave that. It may be for a talk for tomorrow night even. And of course, we're going to have all your wonderful photos to share this evening as well. So sit back, folks, grab your favorite beverage and snack and girlfriend. And remember, this is a family-friendly live broadcast. So if you have any questions about the night sky, we're more than happy to try to answer them here for you. So let's get started with tonight's program. We're up on YouTube, we're up on Facebook, all good?
All good.
Okay.
All good.
Okay, Tom. So Tom does a lot of time-lapse photography. Seen many of his works at our local St. John Astronomy Club meetings. They're just fantastic. Tom does a lot of aurora shots and night sky stuff, but I love time-lapse. It's just something I've always really enjoyed. But I've never been able to do them, and Tom's going to give us some tips on how to make that happen. Right, Tom?
All right. Well, very good. Very good. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Now I got to remember which buttons to push here.
Sure.
There we go. So I really enjoy doing time lapses, and for me, it's really a different way to tell a story, and sometimes I like what I see in a photo, but I can tell more of a story if I do it as a time lapse. So now I'm trying to figure out how I. Oh. So this is a time lapse. This is Sealy Beach. If anybody's been in on the Fundy Trail, so this is the kind of stuff. If I just showed you a picture of this, it would not tell, what happens in the run of a day. So this is actually a 12-hour day in there. So
That's so cool.
People on the beach. It's just an incredible place. But a lot of stuff happens there, and when you pop in to visit for a little while and you take a walk on the beach, and then you head back home, there's so much that you wouldn't have seen because it takes time for things to happen. So I'm going to flip. You'll see it's going to flip cameras. So on this particular time lapse, I'm shooting a rising tide from one end of the beach, and then I'm going to go about 1 kilometer away and shoot the falling tide from the other side. And again, a completely different perspective, things that you wouldn't have seen, going in the other direction. So anyway, so for me, it's really exciting. This one's not a nighttime lapse, of course, but it's I guess I could put the hook in there and say, well, the tides are influenced by the motion of the sun and the moon, so maybe there's a hook. But that's it. I mean, when I go in here, sometimes it works great, and sometimes it doesn't. So I've had lots of times where I go in, set up all my gear, do all the work, and then the fog rolls in, or I get dew on the lenses, and then I get nothing. So and those are I'm crushed. So, but it is what it is, and so you try and learn from it and see what you can do next. So, but anyways, it's exciting, and for me, it's really exciting when it works. So, and it happens often enough. Successful. It happens successful often enough that I'm compelled to go do it again. So these are the things I'm going to talk about a little bit. Some of the gear, some of the settings I use, some of the shooting and the workflow. And then at the end, very briefly, what I'm doing to create a video. So, and I think at this point, I'm going to step away from the PowerPoint and I'm going to show you some behind the scene photos. And what I'm going to show you here is just when I'm in to do this, like I'm going in ahead of time. I'm scouting a location. If this is not familiar, this is a place called Martin Head. I got the weather forecast. It said it was going to be a beautiful night. So I went in, I started setting up my gear, and what you can see here is I've got the camera. This is right at the very top of a cliff. So the cliff's about, I think it's about 300 feet to the beach below.
Wow.
So you can see there's little strings on my cameras and tripods. Because who knows? So you tie all the stuff when it's in a place that's precarious, and you're going to do things to make sure your gear is safe. So this is a different location. This is Little Salmon River. It's someplace that a lot of people are accessing lately through the Fundy Trail. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to show you a time lapse from this location from that setup a little later on. That little tent, just by the way, it is not bug proof. And what an awful night I had in that tent. The no-see-ums came in there. I got to tell you, it was awful. And then there was some condensation, and so I'm reaching up to the top of the tent, killing the little bugs as I see them, and it makes little drops of blood. But through the night, lots of condensation came in the morning. There was streaks of blood all down the inside of the tent. That was so itchy, but it looked like somebody got murdered. It was brutal. This is Walglen Gorge. If you've been in the Fundy Trail, this is one of the prime locations to come in for a look. This is from before the lookout, but you can see the waterfalls there. You can see in this case the green lanyard is there, so I've got a piece of paracord. So my camera is tied off to a tree so it can't fall off the cliff. It's wrapped in plastic so I can protect it from dew. So another one with the strings. So this particular night, this is that same night that I was doing that shot at Martin Head. And of course I'm in there and I'm going to sleep in a hammock. And it says it's going to be a clear night. Well, a clear night means no clouds. Anyway, it doesn't say anything about fog. So anyway, so you can guess what I got for shots. Nothing. So again, this is at Walglen Gorge. So again, you can see the tripod. In these places that are going to be exposed or possibly going to be exposed to wind, I'm going to set the tripod down low, so it's less likely to be overturned because I don't want to get up in the morning and have my gear overturned. So you can see some plastic. You can see that the red tape there somewhere's here. I'll show you in a minute. But anyways, that red tape it's actually a roll of Velcro, so I can tie stuff to my, to the tripod so stuff won't blow around in the wind. That bag underneath the camera, this is one of those trips where I forgot to bring the protective cover for the camera. So that's a Sobeys bag or a grocery bag of some sort covering the timer. It's like, oops. This is at Loch Lomond Lake. I like to shoot there. You can see underneath there's that orange and black thing in the middle of the legs of the tripod. It's called a rock bag. Funny enough, it's for putting rocks in. And again, it's to make the tripod be heavier so it's less likely to be overturned. So beautiful there. I like to shoot there. It's got a nice northern exposure, so it's a really great spot. I don't shoot there too much in the summertime at night because people camp there at night, and that means I have to stay with my camera. So anyways, this is that same spot, that exact same spot. It's at Florida Beach. so this is my camera, following a nighttime lapse. And if we zoom in on the lens, you'll see what happens sometimes.
Oh,
So as you might guess, the pictures aren't so clear when that happens. And it's one of those things. And when I go home, I bring my gear home, and this particular night, it's one of those nights where it's like -10 or -15. I can't bring that gear straight into the house because it'll completely get covered with condensation. So what I've got to do is outside, put that all inside things like Ziplocs, and I can bring it inside and let it warm up in the Ziploc. And usually I'm pretty excited, so I'll pull the memory card out of the camera before I put it in the Ziploc, so at least I have the memory card to play with.
Yeah.
But the camera's got to stay in the bag until it warms up, or else it'll just be dripping wet. So, there's one of our winter friends, Orion's belt in this case. Lots of interesting things. And of course, in the wintertime, we have a lot more night. So time lapse in the wintertime we have a lot more of a subject, a lot more to shoot. Another one of those days when it's, the weather forecast is fantastic, and you get in there, it's like, yeah, this is not so awesome. This is actually at Martin Head again. So, but you can see here, the camera's, laying down. And one of the things that you can see here, the tripod's tipped sideways, and what that is there's a sky tracker is mounted on that tripod, and instead of using it to follow the motion of the sun or the moon, it's actually just being used to rotate. So, and then rocks in the rock bag to hold everything nice and steady. This is at Sealy Beach. There was one summer I just had it in my head that I wanted to do a time lapse there at night. I apologize for not having that, because 3 nights in a row, and I got to tell you, it's an hour and a half hike in. You got to set up all your gear. And then the next morning, unset up all your gear. It's an hour and a half back out, and it was work night. So, so after the 3rd night in a row being unsuccessful, I decided I think I'll go chase something else for a little while. So, one night it was the condensation. The lens is, everything completely soaking wet, and then 2 nights of fog. The fog rolled in, and nothing you can do about it. So absolutely gorgeous. By morning, it's a fantastic sunrise.
Wow.
This is the rocks in the rock bag again. Because it's a windy location, it's very exposed. So in the bags, so all the cameras are very well wrapped. There's my backpack on the ground. So when I mentioned to you guys before, it's this kind of stuff is far from the nearest road, so it's pretty strenuous. So those 2 tripods, I think they're probably 5 or 6 pounds each. Plus the heads are another pound or pound and a half. The cameras, I think, are probably 4 pounds. I didn't have to carry the rocks in, though.
That's good.
But then I've got to bring my sleeping bag and my tent and, some water. And really, if you're going to be in there all this way, I usually have another camera, because then I can go play instead of being bored. So it ends up being fairly heavy. That particular trip, I think I was somewhere around 60 pounds. So it's a big load to go in with. So, but it's when it works, it's beautiful. So anyways, a little trying to get selfies. So again, just another sense for what these, when they're all wrapped. This is a daytime time lapse, same area, lots to see there. I really love the location. So anyways, this is another place. It's not too far away. This is at Martin Head again, but this is over at Goose Creek, and I'm going to show you a daytime time lapse from there. So the camera, I climb up. I don't know, Chris, how well this shows on there. If I move my mouse, that's my camera.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So, and if I zoom in a little bit, you'll see it up there.
Wow.
So it's up on here. And I'm looking out, and I was up. I had to be in here in time for sunrise, and this is in the summertime. So I think I left the house, like at 4 o'clock or something to get in there. But another angle.
I'm gonna just hang on a second. I'm gonna pin your topic there.
Okay.
If I can get you. There we go. There we go, Tom. Okay.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do. So that one where I just showed you the camera up on the rock, this is the time lapse that I got from that. So it's, so I'm using that star tracker again. I'm letting the camera rotate. And what I wanted to show is, how dramatic the tides are here.
I want to let people know that this is it may appear a little choppy to you out there, but it's really fairly very very smooth. It's just the internet connection what I've got going on here.
Okay.
My stream going out, 2 streams coming back, and my
Yep.
other window open. So it does appear just a bit choppy, but I know I've seen these aren't like this.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
anyway.
And this, you'll see the brightness, it flickers a little bit, and that's because the clouds come. So it's so that happens too. Okay. So this is the shots. The ones where I mentioned Sealy Beach. So these are the the behind the scenes shot. With the camera set up there. Again up on the top of a cliff. So I'll show you what that looks like. So one of those cameras is over there.
Wow.
So it's
Unbelievable.
there it is. And again it's tied to a tree, so it won't get lost. You can see it's wrapped in plastic. It's got extra batteries attached, so it can run for the whole day. This is this is so out of the 2 cameras, this is the one on the east side. And it's up there. So it's okay. So these are at Loch Lomond Lake again. Oops, cancel. So I am going to go out of those, and I'll go back to some of those time lapses and show you a couple of those videos that I wanted. So this is one of the earlier videos that I did, and this is at Melvin's Beach. So, and it's every time I go, I learn new things. So it turns out if there's a full moon, it looks like daytime, except there's stars. So and there's fishing boats, so there's lots of interesting things going on. One of the things that I noticed in this, it's at night, and so the wet shoreline doesn't dry up because there's no sun shining on it, as the tide drops.
All right.
Yeah.
So
That is so cool.
yeah, I love it. I can see the rotation of the stars. This one, I don't think Polaris is in this one because there's everything seems to be moving.
Yeah.
So and then as the night progresses, you can see the moon sets, and so what we're going to see is I gotta stop hovering my mouse so I cover it up on you there. So now the moon has set, so it's it's much more of a darkness, but now we can start to see the dawn is starting to come. So that in the far distance, I think that probably will be the lights from maybe Sussex, maybe Moncton.
Mm-hmm.
That's the direction it's facing.
Right.
So that red light is in Nova Scotia.
There's Andromeda.
You're not far from Polaris. It's up in that top left.
Yeah, because the stars are not moving very much up there, so that's getting pretty close to the center. So, yeah, and what I'm doing here, that first camera was on night settings. This one is set on aperture priority, so I'm just letting it run by itself. It's automatically adjusting the the shutter speed and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Because I knew that would be a different one to a very very different look. So.
Yeah.
And for me, one of the things that really struck me here is the sunrise. And I guess in my mind's eye, I expected the sunrise this would be straight up, but we're like 45 degrees north, so that's not what happens. And that's if I back to telling a story, it's if I had if I had just taken a photo, you wouldn't be aware, and certainly to look at it, you would not be aware that that's what happens, that it comes up on an angle. So for some folks, anybody's been out to Cape Spencer or out past Mispec, that, this will be a lighthouse that you would have seen before. So this is, out as far as I could go on the grass. It was a nice, beautiful night. So, I stayed out there for a few hours, and I got to see some things that I didn't expect. So the air glow in particular, the green and red, it's not auroras. It's something about the ionization of oxygen, high in the atmosphere. Down low, those bright lights are airplanes going into the St. John Airport. Oh yeah. So
nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful spot. I was surprised. It was a lot to see there. So this is the Fundy Trail. So this is another nighttime one. So the yellow lights, anytime a little bit of fog either goes on my lens or goes in front of those lights, it flashes. So, but I just loved how the Milky Way came up.
Yeah, look at the Francis Pony.
It was, and it was just perfect. There's also right there's a star that's not moving. It's one of those geosynchronous satellites.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's and I get it on this angle, so I could kind of point in the sky and show you where it is.
Wow.
And maybe there's somebody up there looking down and they can see me pointing. Because I know they're looking.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And this is actually the moon coming up right now. And if the clouds hadn't come, it would have been way too bright for the settings that I had this camera. So it was kind of neat. Normally when the moon comes up like that, it really washes out. You lose all the contrast, so you can't see. So, and this one, as Chris mentioned, there's nights when I hear in the forecast that there's going to be aurora, so I'll go out and set up my camera. This is over Loch Lomond Lake, so it's really just like 2 minutes past the St. John Airport, and this was just amazing. It was cloudy, so I just set up camera and let it go, and I went back in the morning and collected my camera.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, I was just amazed to see what photos I was able to capture through the night.
It's incredible to know that there's that type of aurora visible from the airport area.
It is. I mean, we're so close to the city lights, but it's in this case, I'm facing away from the city, and I'm sure that's a big piece of it. So that's really important. But just even this far south,
Right.
that picture I showed you earlier with the camera set up at Little Salmon River beside my tent where the bugs were killing me. This is that night. This is that shot. And again, and in this one, if I put the mouse there, you'll see there's one star that's not moving. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's Polaris.
Yeah.
That's St. John City Glow, is it?
This would be towards Sussex. This is looking north from Little Salmon River.
Okay.
Yep.
Love the way the Big Dipper comes right down in that valley.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Wow.
Yeah. No, I was. Well, I was thrilled after I got a chance to see it. At this point, I'm just in there scratching my scalp, trying to kill all the little bugs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous in there, and it's nice. There are no street lights. There's no lights. Unless you brought it, there's no lights.
So when you're shooting like that, Tom, what are your timings between images?
Well, what I like to do is. There's a window opening up here, so it'll be awesome. So Windows is going to do an update or something on me now. Watch that.
Checking the weather for you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So what I want to do for settings, typically I want to at night. I'm going to do if it's just regular like stars. I'm going to do 25-second exposures, and then I'm going to allow the camera 5 seconds to write the image to the memory card, and then I'm going to start the next shot like at 30 seconds. So
wow.
So I'm shooting every 30 seconds, and it's a 25-second exposure.
So the camera's going all night, just none.
It is. Yep. The shutter is open much more than it's closed for the whole night. And I think for me, a big part of that is if you allow there to be a period of time when the shutter's not open, what happens is as it goes from one picture to the next, a lot of things will have changed, and the video will be jerky. So I try and really minimize the time in between.
Right.
So this is that exact same night, but I have a second camera set up, and you can see my tent down there on the edge of the beach. And we're looking at the Milky Way, the other side of the Milky Way. The flash is probably me going out for a pee before I turn the lights off for the night. So and it's a completely different angle. So it's facing, this one's facing sort of south or east towards Nova Scotia, but the barrier beach where my tent is blocking the view. So.
Wow.
Yeah, it's in the original footage. There's actually, I'll go through the frames and look to see what I've got. But in this one, it seems to me there was a meteorite there, a green one. Anyways, it was just unusual for me, so I was pretty happy to get a green one.
Yeah.
So this is Loch Lomond Lake again, and this is I'm using the star tracker. It's laying on its back, so I get this rotation, and I just love it. Lots of times I don't get auroras, and then I go out and I get this, and I'm just so excited.
That's awesome.
This is just barely outside the St. John city limits. It's just incredible to me to think it's so close.
Yeah, but you could be standing there and you wouldn't even know what's going on.
Well, in this case, you're right. It's not nearly, the camera is much more sensitive than my eyes, and on this particular night, if I play that again, you'll see the there's these really brilliant, colorful spikes.
There's a few, yeah.
And with my eyes, they were white spikes. That's what I saw with my eye. They were just white.
Okay.
So I could see them for sure, but to me, they were white.
I'd mistake them for cloud.
Yeah. Well, no, they were definitely spikes. Vertical spikes. I could see the clouds too. But it was just amazing to me. I just I was thrilled, and that was a summertime one, so it was so it's a lot easier to keep the lens from getting frosty. This is one of those nights, I'm out, there's a forecast that says there's going to be auroras, and I didn't get auroras. So, and if I move the mouse, you'll see there's one star that's not, or maybe it is moving, but it's only moving a little wee bit. So maybe it's that one. Yeah. So that must be Polaris, the one that's not moving.
Yeah.
And again, the clouds roll in, so it was really pretty. I still liked it. I just didn't get what I went there for. So, and it's, the same thing. I go in there looking for a meteor shower, and I didn't get, the meteor shower. I got lots of airplanes, but the stars were just brilliant. And as it moves, this is panning, and this is actually rotating towards west. So this will face towards St. John. You see the cars going by on, I think it's Highway 820. So,
So cool.
Yeah. So Orion, you can see Orion coming up. The bright yellow, Betelgeuse, is that what it is?
Yeah. Betelgeuse, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you can see the white on this side as we get, sort of facing towards St. John. So anyway, I'm always really excited to do these. You never know what you're going to get.
Now, do you put a dummy battery in your camera and run off 12 volts, or?
I do actually, and in fact, maybe what I'll do is, I'm not sure how I switch back to.
You can just click that button again to send the one that just say stop presenting. There we go.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. That's a great question, Mike. What I've got is for me, this has been a real game changer. So this is the exact same shape as a battery. It's a dummy battery, and it plugs into a USB battery. So it's being supplied power from this little battery.
USB. Wow.
But this is actually able to be fed by another USB. So as long as this is plugged into my camera, the camera keeps on going. And let me open up this. I've got these bigger power bricks, so I can plug this in, and I can power my camera like all night and all day. And
so is it actually running off 5 volts or 8 volts?
This is a 5-volt USB feed, sorry, I think 7, maybe it's 7 or 6.9 or something that actually goes to the camera. But it's a it's a lithium battery inside this box, and it's got a USB plug, so I can plug it into a power brick, and I'm good to go. That's especially important in the wintertime because the batteries don't last. Some cameras are better than others. The 60D that I've got is nice. It goes good with the battery, especially if I put the battery thing, so I can put 2 batteries in it at once. But one of my newer cameras, the 6D, it's a Canon camera. Mine are all Canons, but the lenses are all interchangeable. My 6D just eats batteries.
Oh, really?
If it's on its own batteries, I just can never keep it charged. I can't get a whole night out of it. Even with 2 batteries. So, and then while it's set up, I got my intervalometer. Takes 2 AAA batteries. Doesn't have an on-off switch, so when you're done with it, you take the batteries back out of it. But it just plugs into the remote port on the camera, and I set that I wanted to shoot a picture every 30 seconds. I can tell it to do 25 seconds on here if that's what I want, or I can set the 25 seconds on the camera and let the camera do that count part.
Yeah.
Anyways, it works really good. I've got a little thing for carrying batteries, and I don't know on the camera if you can see well enough, but when I have these little plastic cases, it means the batteries don't get beat up in my bag. If the batteries are right side up, it means they're new batteries. If they're in upside down, they're in use. These are ones I've already had in use, so it just helps me keep track. Some of the other
idea. I just dump things in.
and I did that, and then there would be nights that I'd be disappointed because my stuff would die, and So anyway, just different things that I've tried. Anyways, this is Velcro. It's it's the fuzzy stuff on one side and the hooks on the other.
Yeah.
So it just looks like a roll of tape, and it's great because what'll really frig up a picture is if through the night a little bit of wind comes up and the camera strap starts slapping in the wind, and it jiggles the camera.
Yeah.
You know, so the stars get to be blurry. So you tie everything tight.
Say the things you wouldn't think of, eh?
Yeah, the
No,
little
no,
tips.
it's no, it works really good. And this is my star tracker. It's pretty old and it's beat up and all scuffed. It's been it's been out for a lot of nights. It's been in grocery bags lots of those nights. And this is where it's supposed to mount on the tripod. It's supposed to set this way, and you line it up with the. There's a place here where the little spotting scope. You line it up on the North Star, and then you can use it basically to take longer exposures in the night sky. Works fantastic for that. You got to be careful to set it up, but it works really well. Anyways, and I was thinking, well, it's a motor. It's a nice even motion, nice even movement. So I got this. I just made this. It's a little sheet of fiberglass plate, a couple of foam pads, and I just tape it with duct tape.
Yeah.
And now I have the mount for my tripod, so I can actually mount it flat. And now, so it just pivots my camera this way,
That's
strictly
cool.
horizontal. So now I'm getting another use out of that same piece of equipment. So
Nice.
so that comes in really handy. In a couple of the photos, you would have saw the cameras covered in bags. So I'm going to stand back a little bit. You can see it's kind of an elbow-shaped bag.
Yeah.
It's got a drawstring at one end, so the drawstring goes over the end of the lens, and then the elbows. So this is the part where you can reach up inside where the camera is, so you can adjust the settings, and then this bag stays on the camera for the whole night.
Have you done anything for like dew heaters using the hand warmers?
I tried hand warmers, and that was originally what I got the Velcro straps for. The problem is the hand warmers, they need exposure to oxygen. They need the air to be at them. And, of course, as soon as you wrap them tight, they don't get any more air. So they don't work as good. They work definitely better than having nothing, but they're not ideal. They're definitely better than nothing, and they'll help for the dew and the frost. Now that said, I picked up some dew heaters. They're powered on USB.
USB, yeah.
Yeah, and they're basically like a Velcro tape. So they just tape around the hood on the lens. You plug them in, and they're supposed to work. And honestly, I haven't tried them yet. I've got them. I just haven't had them out yet. So anyway, new toys to play with.
Yeah, I picked up one. It's actually an adjustable cup warmer.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Perfectly on a 35 millimeter lens, your camera lens, but you can actually adjust, which I would assume would adjust how much battery you're going to draw on or not draw on.
Yeah. And for me, like I say, I haven't done it yet, so I can't speak with any great authority. But I think as long as you can keep that lens slightly above the ambient temperature, the dew and frost will form somewhere else and not on the lens.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I do it, my first attempts will be to set it as low as possible in the hopes that the battery will stay, for the whole night.
So, Tom, I have a question for you. Are you using the 14 millimeter lens?
I have, yep. It depends on which camera. If I'm on a full frame, for me, the 14 millimeter is the widest I have. But I have a couple of other cameras, the 60Ds, and I've got a 90D, and I love the 90. And they're a crop sensor, and so I've got the 10 to 22 millimeter. And although I would prefer a prime lens, just because, well, you can imagine, you get out there in the dark, you got the headlamp on, and you're trying to set stuff, you're trying to get things in focus. Well, the lenses that can zoom, now they've got a zoom ring and they've got a focus ring, so it's so easy to get them out of adjustment. So I would prefer to have a prime lens, but the 10 to 22s are good. The f-stop is 3.5, and I use them wide open at 3.5. And I've been really happy with them. So that 14 millimeter, I think it goes to 2.8, so it's a pretty wide lens. It opens up pretty nice too. So I'm trying to think what else. I've got a 17 to 40, and the 17's not bad. It's an f4. So, and what it means is that when I get the pictures back on the computer, the f4 means they're going to be a little bit darker. And so I'm going to have to make some adjustments, on the computer to brighten them back up a bit.
Is the 17, does it give you more aberration, more distortion?
The 17 compared to the 14, it seems to be, my 14 is a Rokinon, and it was one of the early ones to come out with it. The price is fantastic. It's completely manual, like it's manual focus, manual aperture. My camera does not recognize it at all. So when I load it, the metadata shows that there's no lens attached. So I have to manually enter that. And it has what they call a mustache distortion, so it has kind of a wiggle on the bottom. Lightroom has a fix for that now, so it can be fixed. When I first got it, it wasn't there. Like you just had to suck it up. But it's now, so you can take that distortion out of it now. So it's not as critical if you're just going to do a single photo or if you're going to do a time lapse where the camera holds still. But if the camera's going to pan, what'll happen is the shoreline, that's a nice straight line. As the camera pans, the shoreline will go like this. Anyways, and it's just like, what's going on there? So it's one of those things, to manually to make the adjustments manually. Of course, it's just not practical. If I go out and shoot for a night, so I'm shooting 2 photos a minute. So in an hour, I'm getting 120 photos at night. So 120 an hour. So if I shoot for 10 hours, 1,200 photos. If I have 2 cameras, I'm over 2,000 photos. So I'll go in and I'll pick the ones that are sort of key frames. I'll adjust those how I want them, and I'll copy those settings to all the photos. And I have some software also. LR time lapse is really interesting. And the LR doesn't mean Lightroom, although it works perfectly with Lightroom. It integrates nicely. But the LR is leveling and ramping. So as you go through the adjustment that I need to make on the first photo in the set, like maybe it's too bright and I need to darken it down, that's completely different than what I'm going to want to do in the middle of the night when it's a pitch black sky, where I might actually want to brighten it up a little bit. And then when dawn comes, again, I'm going to try and dim it down a little bit so the sun doesn't blow out my images. LR time lapse, you go in, you pick out those keyframes, you make the adjustments you want, and it'll go in and it'll ramp. Like it'll gradually change from one of your adjustments to the other over the span of, like if it's 100 photos, it'll divide up the change into 100 increments, and
so it normalizes all the videos so that they're all.
It does.
Yeah.
In fact, how about this? I'm going to show you this. I've got one video on Aurora one I'm going to show you right now, and what it is it's what happens when the lens frosts up when you're right in the middle of an awesome shot. And then I'm going to, let's see if I can get that back again. And of course, I jumped ahead. Okay. Well, and of course, where to go? I lost it.
We've all been down that road.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm playing it again. So this is what happens one of these nights. No dew heater, no protection from the frost. I was there. I stayed. This is a rare night when I actually stayed out with my gear, and I could see the frost forming on my lens, and I could see the auroras, and I could have cried. I wiped it all off. Go again. It's like I got it. Oh, I don't have it. And it's like, oh no. And it's and what do you do? I mean, the frost is forming on the lens while I watch. So there were a couple of individual images that were really, really nice, but there were a lot that I lost there just because of the frost. This one is going to show if it's, so what this is I have 2 videos. They're both shot exactly the same. One of them, you can see here, the one on the left side has been added +1 for exposure. The one on the right is ramped. So on the bright spots, I subtracted 3. On the dark spots, I put up +5. And so you'll see what sort of a difference it makes.
Wow, yeah.
So in the middle of the night, so you can see this one on the right is brighter, so I can get a much brighter Milky Way. Now the one on the left, you're seeing it's starting to get washed out because the moon's coming. But I could fix that on the right. So it's really fantastic to be able to make those adjustments, and get a little more, because the cameras capture the information. It's just a matter of how to make those adjustments. And LR time lapse, does an absolutely amazing job of it.
Awesome stuff, Tim. Tom, sorry.
Yeah.
Tom, yep.
Yeah, Tim Tom, something like that. Yeah. So it's So those are the ones that I really wanted to show you.
Great.
And so, like I say, lots of interesting things to find when you're out there. And anyway, so those are so we talked about some of the settings. The gear, the lenses. I usually go for wider. I want, it's more like a landscape photo, so I want a kind of a broad setting. I like to have some landmark in the pictures if I can. Like the case like out at out past Mispec, to have the lighthouse in the picture, so people can look at it and say, yeah, I know where that is. I've been there. I've just never seen it like this. And you can tell that story that, people can go out there and see the stars, but they don't see it, and having that landmark means, they'll recognize it. It's familiar, but it's different.
So you have the presentation up on the St. John Astronomy Club page, I believe, on the website. On how to go ahead and do them on your own. So if anybody's out there that wants to be able to take a look at Tom's presentation, you can go to St. John Astronomy Club website, and it's right there listed on the left-hand side. It's members' contributions, and Tom is in there with his time-lapse presentation. So thank you, Tom.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
Good
awesome,
stuff.
Tom. Wow. Hopefully, maybe sometime we'll get you to come back again, and we can go a little more detail on some of the things that you run into, and maybe a little bit more detail on camera settings and things like that. So if there's some folks out there that want to take a crack at this, you can give them a good starting gate to go with.
Awesome.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Good, great.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, well done.
Okay, we're going to move on to Rosanna's fun facts right now. Then, Paul, I guess.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Let's see what I can do.
Okay.
All right. Let me just see if I can't get the old presentation ready. Right here.
Pat says, "Hi all. Can't wait till the weather gets better so I can get the scope out." Pat, you and I both. And Tom with his cameras as well. So.
Okay. I think I am ready. So I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
I'm going to try to see if I can remember how to do that. Now we got 4 people in there. There we go. There I am. Share screen. This one. Okay. And here we go.
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Awesome.
Right.
Hey.
Well, welcome back, Rosanna. It's good to see you again. And this week, which was last week's fun fact, is all about solar flares. And it's kind of cool. And Rosanna always puts up stuff that's really quite timely. And last week would have been a little more, but it doesn't matter. It's still all good information. So basically, she writes, "Hi, Paul. Whoop, flare goes, another rubber tree plant." She can't get that out of her head. So neither here nor flare. She got the guns going. I don't know if I'm rubbing off on her, but
I think so. It's too bad.
On July 3rd, NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory stated that the sun experienced an intense burst of radiation, and that flare was categorized as an X 1.5 class flare and caused a brief radio blackout on Earth. Now, there we go. So I don't know if that's a video I could play. No, it's not. Okay, so the event summary is the next one flare occurred on 1429 UTC on July the 3rd, 2021. Now, this R3, which is strong radio blackout that was observed, new region 2838 produced an impulsive X1 flare, and now R3 is strong radio blackout at 1429 UTC on July the 3rd. The sunspot region developed overnight and was also responsible for an M2 flare and an R1, which is a minor radio blackout, at 17 UTC on July the 3rd. Now, although called both strong and then later minor, it didn't compare to March 13th, 1989 at 2:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time when a geomagnetic storm hit Earth, and the result was a coronal mass ejection on March the 9th, which was the result of an X-15 flare. And on March the 6th, dominoes in reverse, the flare and the mass ejection, which led to the geomagnetic storm, resulted in a fantastic auroras at both poles on Earth, which could be seen as far south as Texas and Florida. It also caused a 9-hour outage of Hydro-Quebec's electricity transmission system. The system went down in 90 seconds. That's how quickly it went down with that. So let me just flip here. So some satellites in polar orbits lost control for several hours. The Space Shuttle Discovery, which was aloft at the time, suffered a sensor malfunction, and a massive charge of particles and electrons in the ionosphere flowed from west to east, inducing powerful electric currents in the ground on Earth. Now, I wondered if it would affect Earth's oceans, but couldn't find a definitive answer on that. So if anyone out there knows what happens to the world's oceans, if anything, during a geomagnetic storm, please share that with us. And that's where that little cartoon came from. So yes, there are some things wrong. The voltmeter shows a very low reading. So the sun isn't the only star to produce flares. In April 2021, astronomers announced the detection of a very large flare on Proxima Centauri. Proxima Centauri is our nearest neighboring star. The flare was one of the most violent ever seen in our galaxy, with the star suddenly becoming 14,000 times brighter than usual in just seconds. So flares actually occur on Proxima Centauri much more frequently than our sun. Now I'm going to play a little video. I'm going to hopefully play a little video. I'm going to jump ahead to 301, and you can actually see another computerized example of a 2016 flare from Proxima Centauri, which made the star 68 times brighter and visible from Earth.
Paul, are you sharing the same screen, or because I get you spotlighted right now?
Yeah, it should go on the same screen. If it doesn't open there,
just let me know. Yeah.
Right now, you can get up to $800 when you sign up with CIBC Aventura. And yeah, I know
I can't see it.
Could have been an email. I just miss you guys.
Oh no.
Travel when it's right for you.
Okay, no, I'm actually
helps you work more efficiently.
Whoops.
Oh.
No glitches tonight.
Somewhere off in Proxima Centauri.
Yeah, must have had a flare. Knock him right out.
Yeah.
He'll be back in a second or two. And we're live. Yeah, and this is what happens on a live program every once in a while.
It's like a concentric orbit. Sometimes he's close, sometimes he's far.
Look, I've been button happy on this program a lot, and I just have to watch this little one down here at the bottom because that's going to be in the show. So I get clicking in here, but I try to be very careful. That does happen.
That is funny.
He should be back in a second.
Well, I feel really good that one of you experts, did that and not me, the new guy on the show here.
It's par for the course for us. We take it in stride by now. I think, and I think most of our followers out there do too. so one guy said a couple of weeks ago that he just tunes in to see what happens.
Watch what happens. There he is.
Hey, welcome back.
I had a flare, and I walked out. Anyway, the video was just going to show that, and it shows how the flare just blows up. But as soon as I did that, it started to do the OBS feedback loop, and it just went into your screens, so you wouldn't have been able to see it anyway. So, however, this is what happens, Tom.
I was just telling the guys, I said, I'm glad it's one of you experts that did that instead of me.
Yeah.
Being the new guy pushing the wrong buttons.
Well, I'm just going to finish up that bit. I'm not going to show that video, and I might be able to show one more thing. We'll see if it happens, or if I get kicked out again, then we won't worry about it. So I'm going to try to finish off where we were, and you should be able to see that screen one more time.
We do.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so basically what we were going to show was that flare, and it was really quite something else to see. Now she's got one more little thing to show, and it says, for summer drive-in fans, the newly released flare from April 2021 would be a show worth seeing. And I'm going to try to play this MP4, and if it don't work, don't blame me. Oh, come on. I can't get to do it. Oh, it's not going to work. Okay, so I do apologize for that. But in any event, that was that. And that was, well, there it is.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's quite a flare there, really, believe it or not, but it's unbelievable. But let's just get out of that. And that was this week's.
Fun fact.
Hey!
The interrupted version with a solar flare that took us out for a few seconds.
Good timing, Paul. Good
So
timing.
you can see how those geometric storms
Absolutely.
can really affect a lot of things.
A lot of things, including a Sunday night astronomy show.
Thank you very much, Rosanna. Sorry for kind of foobering that one, but we got the point. Thank you very
We
much.
did.
Awesome.
Thank you, Rosanna. Yes, once again, for sure. Okay, we've got a couple of things yet to cover. We've got some photos to take a look at, and we got a Bino Bud talk. So maybe, which would you like to do first, guys?
It's no matter mine.
Let's do the Bino Bud.
Yeah,
You
sounds
want
good.
Bud?
Yeah. Bud, bring us up, Bud. Bino Budweiser.
Any solar flares over your way, Mike?
When you know it. I gotta get this.
There's usually one every Sunday night for us.
Yeah, that's right.
We should have a Bud.
We do.
We do.
Excuse me.
So the much awaited question was, the target of the week from Bino Bud this week is the broken engagement ring.
Still doesn't clear it up.
Well, broken engagement ring is located near the bowl of the Big Dipper. It's made up of a semicircle of stars about 15 minutes in size. The bright star in the upper left, which you'll see, at 7.4 magnitude, could be considered the diamond of the ring, and the lower right section of the ring is missing. Using your imagination, the three bright stars to the lower right could be considered the missing stars of the broken engagement ring. So how to find it? If you went out at midnight and spun yourself around to 320 degrees northwest and looked up, you see the Big Dipper. Now, it might not be oriented this way, but you see the Big Dipper. And the bottom star of the bowl right in this corner, you just come down from it a little bit, and this engagement ring is right in this area. You come a little closer, as you can see, there's that star in the bottom corner. You come straight down, and there's the broken engagement ring sitting right there. You can see the one bright star and a curve of little stars. And if we get even closer, now this is not a good photograph, but it's the only one I can find an actual photograph of the broken ring. If you look up, there's the bright star that makes the diamond. And then the stars that curve around and the missing piece of the ring. And that's why they call it the broken engagement ring, because it doesn't make a full circle all the way around.
Oh.
In 10 by 50 binoculars, when you look up, there's Merak, that star. You come down from it, and you can see the bright star outstanding and the little curve going around. So this bottom piece of the ring is actually missing, and that's why they call it the broken engagement ring. If you were to compare it to the full moon, which I always do, it's probably about a quarter of the size of the full moon. So that just gives you an idea, how big a target is you're looking for, because we all look at the moon with binoculars. And now it gives you an indication of how big it might be. And that is our photograph.
He's taking a picture. He's flapping like a mosquito.
Isn't that always the way?
Oh, it's lovely.
That's our Bino Bud target of the week.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All right. Here we are. We're back.
Go.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Well done.
Now does the broken engagement ring make sense now?
Yes, it does.
It does.
Very much so. There's actually one up by Polaris. I think too. There's another engagement ring up around that area. But I'll show you that one.
Okay.
It's not broken. It's actually a full ring.
I found 1,000 M40s, 2 stars together.
Yeah, that's quite a deal there. I think it was just looking for another number to stick.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, let's bring up some photos that we have from this week that have been sent in to the page and to my Gmail address here. So I'm going to try to share my screen for a second. And I'm going to go to full screen. And just got to find them. Oh, Oh, here he is. Okay. Whew. Okay. I'm gonna bring up this one first of all. Oh, that's not the way I want to bring it up though. Just a second. Go back. And open with photos. There. I should put it back in the center of the screen. There we go. So this one came in from Kathy Adams. Kathy says, clouds and trees equal this picture. A deer head silhouette would have been nice too, but alas, no deer. That's with the buck moon that we just went through. The full buck moon just the other night.
Oh, very nice.
Awesome. Got these from David Samard. David said July 21st. I'm sorry, July 20th. The picture was taken with the Celestron 8-inch SCT 35mm DSLR during the night after the moon set. M31, Andromeda, and Saturn, and Jupiter. On this picture, you could notice the satellite of Jupiter changing position compared to the earlier pictures. And I'm going to skim through them here for us. So here's this Saturn shot.
Nice shot.
Nice, eh?
Very
Yeah.
good.
8-inch through an 8-inch scope with a 35mm DSLR. And there's his Jupiter with 4 moons,
Yes, sir.
which you can catch in binoculars too. Here's his early moon shot. He said a couple of moon pictures showing the difference with the moon at the horizon and then higher up in the evening sky, so the way that it changes color. And it doesn't really change color. Well, it changes color to our perception, of course, but that's just the reflection of light that's coming through our atmosphere. The red wavelengths are longer, so they can make it to our eyeball easier. Excuse me just for a second. Okay, back. And on from there, we got this one in from Lisa Ann Fanning. She says, side by side, the smoky moon and the sun. Makes you kind of sad, she says, but it is interesting. So that's taken from New Jersey. And we had that smoke from the wildfires here as well, of course. Moved on for now anyway, but it did give us an awful different looking sun and moon for sure. Especially the moon. When we had moonrise the other day, it was up, coming up, and it was still fairly orange as it got up higher, which is kind of uncommon. We've got this one from Dick Deutscher, and I'm just trying to find his notes. He says, I live in Black Hills of South Dakota, USA.
Wow.
He said this photo was taken on the 19th of July, 1/80th of a second at f/13, ISO 200. He said we also have some smoke in the air from the forest fires. So,
Wow.
thanks so much, Dick, for sending that in. Beautiful shot. Yeah. These ones came from Jeremy Costain. I'll have to enlarge them a bit. Sometimes I get photos in different sizes. Just some moon
Oh,
shots.
that's a nice moon. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, nice, huh?
Yeah.
And a little hummingbird feeder hanging there. And here's another one that he sent in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
nice.
reflection in the water.
Yeah.
And there.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm pretty
Nice
sure that's
indeed.
Alma. It looks like Alma to me, but
It does, doesn't it?
I think it
I
is.
smell powder.
Okay, from there we've got Matthew Dupre sent these ones in. I'm going to zoom in on this one as well. Have a look at this one.
Oh, look at the ISS.
That's a nice capture. It's hard to do.
That's a hard one to get, yeah.
Oh.
She says, I got this one of the space station the other night. I hand tracked it, he said. Was shot with a 2300 millimeter telescope. So that's about a 9 1/4, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, 2350.
Yeah.
So I tracked it manually by loosening the clutches on my EQ mount, and I used an SCT. I also had to make sure the collimation was spot on just before the pass started. I was using a Canon T7i, but I recently got an ASI 224. I was thinking of trying it on the ISS, but I think it might zoom in too close to track it accurately, but that's still some shot.
It is.
Incredible.
Well done.
Amazing. Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And hand tracked. That's
And hand tracked, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Just knowing in the sky where it's going to be and to be
Yeah.
right there with that kind of magnification, that's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. That is the word, amazing.
I get this one from Harold Loch. I'm going to zoom in on this one as well. There we go. She says, gentlemen, he said, here is my latest pic of Artemis from 07/19/2021. The sky was still a bit dark blue after sunset and still clear before the clouds rolled in. I think for a year of shooting the moon, this is my second best. Last month's on the 19th had been the best focus to date. So I would like to submit this one for sharing. I like a bit of darker contrast. I feel for detail. Shot in prime focus, T7 2000D, no filters, with a Celestron 127 millimeter MCT, and photoshopped lightly.
Wow.
Oh,
Awesome.
nice.
Nice job, Harold.
Yeah.
Lots of detail, yeah.
Great contrast.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, and certainly send in some more. We'd love to get them. This one came from Clayton Carr. Shot of the moon. And he says...
Coming up, I just feel the trees there, yeah.
And he says the second picture, get out here for a second. So the second picture was the amount of fog in front of me.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We understand that one for sure.
He's got the moon line there too, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
So
Yeah.
So the moon doesn't know that you're shooting it.
Yeah. That's right.
You can sneak up.
Yeah. And he got this one. Well, this is from Jeremiah. Sorry, Jeremiah Harding sent these ones in.
That's very cool.
Pretty cool shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice toy.
And if I can find
Yeah.
it, it's got a couple of notes here. Just a second. I can find my menu. Just bear with me for a second. Oh, wrong page. Don't want that to open. I want this one to open. Just got to get back to my notes here. Oh, he said, just wanted to share these with the community. Found a nice spot with a commanding view of the sky. It certainly did.
Yeah. Oh, there.
And again from Jeremiah. Oh, we got this one here.
Hey.
We'll come back to that one in a second. Hang on. I think Mike knows what that one is. Anyway, Renat sent this one in. She said, excitement in the local astronomy camp for tonight for the rising of full bucks moons. She said, forewarned by Astronomy by the Bay with their live broadcast. I kept an eye on the horizon. It took a whole bunch of time down here after the moon had risen up in St. John. So she's in Back Bay. Much longer than I would have expected for only being an hour's drive south away. With the bare eye, there was a beautiful orange ball to see, which my iPad decided to convert and record in yellow. Shame, really. So, yeah, that does happen. It happens with the phone, too.
Yeah.
Nice shot, yeah. I got any more? No, I think it's it, and I want to go back to this one. So Mike's sitting there waiting for me to get ready last night, and Mike's quite a poet, so he was just sitting out on his deck and looking to pass the time, so he decided to write a little bit of something. So it kind of explains really where we are, what we're doing. So he says, we love astronomy and we love to share. We love to show the wonders out there. Then COVID came and the outreach it went. So going live instead is the message we sent. To the people out there who follow the show, we thank you for all your patience, you know. We do. Mistakes we make, but that's what it's like. We enjoy what we do and the numbers still spike. With sanctions getting lifted, we are hopeful, you know, to get back to the beach to continue that show. So keep your scopes pointed up is what we still say, and thank you all from Astronomy by the Bay. And thank you, Mike.
Awesome, Mike.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
That's awesome.
That fills it all in right there.
Wow.
And
When did you write that one?
I was just sitting on the back deck having a smoke and a coffee waiting for Chris, so the thumb started going on the phone. You know, instead of typing it in the message, I just typed it in a little notepad while I was waiting.
Yeah.
And I said to him saying, I bet you get a kick out of this one.
Yeah, he did. So
That's awesome.
awesome. Mike's quite a poet. And so anyway, if you have photos that you'd like to send in to us, send them into Sunday Night Astronomy Show at gmail.com. I'm still working on my other email address, but we're going to use this one for right now. Or just send them into my Facebook page as well. I try to pick up as many as I can off of that as well. So we really appreciate all your photos. Love sharing them here. So I'm going to get out of that for now and close that one and not close the main window. See that little red button down there? Just stay away from that red button. Or she's all over. Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's going to be our show. We're into what, a little bit after 9 now?
We are.
Yeah. Look at that.
Hey,
Hey, just a few minutes over, but that
right on
was
time.
Yeah.
yeah, we started on time tonight. Well, let's leave it at that. Okay, so in closing tonight again, thanks special thanks once again for all your continued support out there. Our special thanks to Tom as well for joining us here tonight.
Yeah.
Tom, you're
Thank you,
always
Tom.
welcome back anytime. Thanks very much. Come back
Thank you
anytime,
very much.
and we'll have you back for a little bit longer explanation of what's going on. We always get some show time to fit in there. So anyway,
That'd be great.
thanks
That'd be
again
great.
to Rosanna as well for her contributions to the show. We really do appreciate all your efforts out there, Rosanna, and everybody out there who helps share our program as well, including our most faithful sharer out there, Trudy Allman. Thank you, Trudy, for always punching that out there for us to get it out to the public. And remember, too, we do love getting your photos, so send them into SundayNightAstronomyShow@gmail.com, and or just send them into my Facebook page, and we'll be happy to include them in our next broadcast. We're also looking for suggestions for topics for future shows. I do have a half a dozen here that I'm going to go over with the guys about, and we're going to come up with some topics for other shows. So if you have anything that you'd like us to discuss in a future episode, please send your request to the same address, SundayNightAstronomyShow@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to make it happen for you. Also, if you joined us from YouTube and you're just here tonight for the first visit, please consider giving us a like and subscribing to our channel. And remember, folks, that we are here every Sunday night to help entertain you more than anything, but information-wise as well. all about the nice guy. Huh?
We got to do a shout out to Mike from the beach last night.
Oh yes, Mike.
Say hi, Mike. Thanks
Mike,
for coming down to the beach last night.
Absolutely, that was a lot of fun. Good.
It was.
Mike's a regular follower and has watched a lot of our programs, so we appreciate that very much. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
So now then, from Tom and Mike and the other Mike and Paul and I, stay safe, everybody out there. We wish you all clear skies, and we hope to see you again here next week. And remember, as we like to say, keep your scopes, guys.
Point
it up. Join us, Tom. There you go. Keep the scopes pointed up. Have a great week, everybody. Good night.
Give her a
Mr.
salute.
Music, please.
Live long and prosper. Now we probably get nailed with royalties on that one.
Yeah,